What's up, Reds? Something massive is brewing at the City ground, and you're absolutely not going to believe what's happening behind the scenes right now. The phones have been ringing non-stop, the boardroom doors are slamming, and Nuno Espirito Santo, well, let's just say he's got some very strong words about what's going down at our beloved Forest. We're talking about transfer sagas that could reshape our entire season, Brazilian signings that have everyone talking, and a manager who's pulled absolutely no punches in telling the world exactly how he feels about where we stand right now. There's drama with Manchester City that involves doubling salaries, there are rejected bids that'll make your jaw drop, and there's a level of frustration from Al Gaffer that we haven't seen in years. This isn't just transfer window gossip, Reds. This is about the very soul of our club and whether we're truly ready for what lies ahead in both the Premier League and our historic return to European competition. Are we building something special, or are we setting ourselves up for disaster? The answers might shock you more than you think. Before we dive deep into this absolute madness, smash that subscribe button like your love for Forest depends on it. Because honestly, if you're not subscribed, are you even a real Red? Hit that notification bell harder than Brennan Johnson used to hit the back of the net, because what I'm about to reveal will have every Forest fan across the globe talking for weeks. The first bombshell involves a certain 20-year-old Manchester City defender and an offer so outrageous it's got Pep Guardiola's head spinning. Picture this scene. It's a typical Thursday evening in Manchester, the Etihad Stadium. Lights are dimming after another training session, and a young English defender is walking to his car when his phone buzzes with a call that could change everything. The voice on the other end isn't just offering him a new contract, they're offering him double, yes, you heard that right, double his current Manchester City salary to make the move to the City ground. We're talking about Rico Lewis, the 20-year-old sensation who's caught the eye of every top club in Europe, and Nottingham Forest have just thrown down the gauntlet with an offer that's got the entire football world talking. But here's where it gets interesting. Lewis isn't just some random target we've plucked out of thin air. This lad made over 40 appearances for City last season, bagged 2 goals and 5 assists, and was being groomed as the future of their right-back position until Matheus Nunes came along and shifted the entire dynamic. Now he's stuck on the bench, watching from the sidelines while his career ticks away. And Forest have swooped in like vultures circling their prey. The audacity of this move is absolutely staggering when you think about it. We're talking about poaching talent directly from the champions of England, offering wages that would make even established Premier League stars jealous. But Lewis is seriously considering it, and why wouldn't he? At Forest, he'd be guaranteed first-team football under Nuno. He'd be playing in Europe for the first time in his career, and he'd be earning more money than he ever dreamed possible at his age. The kid even got a red card in City's Club World Cup opener against Chelsea, which tells you everything about his current mindset and frustration levels. If this deal goes through, Lewis would be joining a defense that conceded only 2 more goals than Manchester City last season. Think about that for a moment. Our defensive record was almost as good as the team that won the Premier League. But here's the million-pound question that's keeping every Forest fan awake at night. Is this the signing that transforms us from European qualification hopefuls into genuine top 6 contenders? Or are we about to waste a fortune on a player who might not adapt to our style of play? The answer to that question is about to get a whole lot more complicated when you hear what our manager really thinks about our transfer business this summer. Now, if you thought Rico Lewis being tempted away from Manchester City was dramatic, wait until you hear what Nuno Espirito Santo said just days before our Premier League opener against Brentford. The man didn't just express concern, he used the words major problem and declared that we are all very worried about the state of our squad preparation. Let that sink in for a moment, Reds. Your manager, the man who guided us to 7th place last season and European qualification for the first time in 3 decades, is publicly admitting that he's worried sick about what lies ahead. This isn't some tactical mind game or media manipulation. This is genuine fear from a coach who knows exactly what it takes to survive in the most demanding league in world football. The Nottingham Post caught up with Nuno just 48 hours before we were set to welcome Brentford to the City ground, and what he revealed should send shivers down every Red spine. We have a major problem, he said, and those 5 words carry more weight than any transfer fee or contract negotiation ever could. When your manager is this candid about the club's shortcomings, you know we're either heading for disaster or we're about to witness the most incredible transformation in Forest's modern history. The timing of these comments couldn't be more significant either. Here we are, about to embark on our first European campaign since the glory days of Brian Clough. And our Portuguese mastermind is telling the world that we're nowhere near ready for what's coming. But what exactly has got Nuno so rattled? Is it the lack of new signings, the uncertainty around existing players, or something far more sinister happening behind closed doors at the City ground? The answers are more shocking than you could possibly imagine, and they paint a picture of a club that's either on the brink of greatness or teetering on the edge of complete chaos. What Nuno revealed next will make you question everything you thought you knew about our summer preparations. The brutally honest truth came pouring out when Nuno Espirito Santo sat down with Sky Sports and delivered what can only be described as a damning indictment of our transfer strategy. We are very, very far from where we should be. Very far, he said, his frustration evident in every syllable. In terms of preparation, planning, squad, we are all very worried because we are playing in the most demanding league in the world. Though those aren't the words of a manager trying to lower expectations. Those are the words of someone who's genuinely concerned that we might be setting ourselves up for failure on multiple fronts. Think about what we're asking this squad to do. Compete in the Premier League, fight in the FA Cup, navigate the Carabao Cup, and represent English football in European competition for the first time since 1996. That's an enormous ask for any squad, let alone one that our own manager believes is woefully underprepared. But here's where the Brazilian connection becomes absolutely crucial to understanding Nuno's frustration. We've signed Jair from Botafogo for 12 million euros and Igor Jesus for 20 million euros, two players who've never experienced the intensity of Premier League football. And we're expecting them to hit the ground running in what might be the most challenging season in our club's recent history. Don't get me wrong, these aren't criticism of the players themselves. They are talented individuals who've proven themselves in South American football. But Nuno's point is that we should have been planning this rebuild months ago, not scrambling to complete signings days before the season starts. The plans we had didn't materialize. The preparation in terms of squad wasn't ideal. We didn't have the opportunity to create bonds because we didn't know what squad we would have, Nuno revealed. And every word cuts deeper than the last. The Portuguese tactician also dropped a bombshell about players already at the club. There are players here who know they're going out on loan. It's a big problem. Can you imagine the psychological impact of that uncertainty on team morale and preparation? We've also missed out on some massive targets that would have transformed our squad overnight. And the frustration in Nuno's voice suggests these weren't just minor setbacks. The official bid has been submitted. The paperwork is flying between Manchester and Nottingham, and Rico Lewis is now at the center of what could be the transfer coup of the summer. Forest have gone beyond their initial approach and made a formal offer to Manchester City for the 20-year-old England international, and the numbers involved will blow your mind. We're talking about a deal worth more than £30 million for a player who's approaching his 100th senior appearance for City, but has found himself slipping down the pecking order under Pep Guardiola. But here's what makes this transfer absolutely fascinating from a tactical standpoint. Lewis isn't just a right back. He's what modern football calls a hybrid player, equally comfortable in defense or midfield depending on what the game requires. Under Nuno's system, that versatility could be the difference between European success and embarrassing failure. City had made tying Lewis to a new contract their priority this summer, but talks have completely broken down, and now they're open to selling if the right offer comes in. The fact that they're willing to let him go tells you everything about how highly they rate other options in their squad. But it also presents us with an incredible opportunity to snatch one of England's most promising young talents. Forest are prepared to double Lewis's current salary, offer him guaranteed first-team football, and give him the chance to play in Europe. A combination that even Manchester City can't match right now. The deal structure is typically complex, with City insisting on sell-on clauses and buyback options, following the same template they used when Cole Palmer moved to Chelsea and became an overnight sensation. But here's the psychological aspect that nobody's talking about. Lewis received a red card in City's Club World Cup opener, suggesting his frustration levels are already at breaking point. When a young player starts making rash decisions on the pitch, it's usually a sign that they're unhappy with their situation and ready for a change. The question isn't whether Forest can afford this deal. It's whether we can afford not to make this deal when you consider what's at stake for our European ambitions. However, while we're chasing English talent from Manchester City, our pursuit of German international Jamie Loweling has hit a significant roadblock that reveals everything about our current standing in European football. The final piece of this transfer puzzle comes from Stuttgart, where our €25 million bid for Jamie Loweling has been rejected faster than a Virgil van Dijk tackle. VfB Stuttgart looked at our offer, 20 million guaranteed plus 5 million in bonuses, laughed and sent it straight back with a firm no thank you. This rejection stings more than you might initially realize because it exposes a harsh reality about Forest's current position in the transfer market hierarchy. Loweling isn't some untouchable superstar. He's a 24-year-old winger who Stuttgart bought from Union Berlin for just €5 million last summer. In 12 months, his value has quintupled, and suddenly he's deemed too good for Nottingham Forest. The German international scored 5 goals and registered 7 assists in 36 appearances last season, earned his first 2 caps for his country, and even scored on his national team debut in a Nations League match. These are exactly the kind of numbers and profile that should fit perfectly into Nuno's tactical system, especially when you consider we'll be playing European football and need squad depth. But Stuttgart's rejection sends a clear message. They don't see Forest as equals in the European football hierarchy, despite our qualification for the same competition. This hurts because Loweling represents exactly the type of signing that could elevate us from European participants to European contenders. He's experienced in Champions League football, having scored twice in Europe's premier competition last season, and his versatility across the front line would have given Nuno options we desperately need. The fact that we're not even planning to submit an improved bid suggests either our budget constraints are tighter than we thought, or we've already moved on to alternative targets who might be more realistic for our current status. But here's what this rejection really tells us about our summer transfer window. We're shopping in a market where our European qualification means less than we hoped. Our financial muscle isn't as impressive as we thought, and our reputation still needs serious rebuilding on the continental stage. As we stand here, days before the season begins with Rico Lewis still undecided, Nuno publicly worried, and Stuttgart laughing at our advances, the question every Red needs to ask themselves is simple. Are we genuinely ready for what's coming, or are we about to learn some very harsh lessons about our place in modern football's hierarchy? The next few weeks will define not just this season, but potentially the next decade of Nottingham Forest football. And honestly, after everything we've discussed today, I'm not sure any of us are fully prepared for what that might mean.